Welcome back to Winging It Buffalo Style. In our hot sauce today, we are kicking off a new legal segment. We are joined by attorney Joshua Ramos. Now, I have to welcome you to the Winging It Couch because you'll be here once a month to answer our viewers' legal questions. So let's get right into it with a little bit of knowledge about you. So what does a personal injury attorney do?
You know, and I think that's a good question, and the answer is the personal injury attorney becomes a client's confidant. They help out the client with getting medical treatment, helping them out obtain lost wages. Essentially, our job is to put the client back into a position where they were before the accident, or as much as possible.
So, you know, speaking of accidents, how soon after an accident should we contact an attorney?
You know, and some attorneys say, call me right away, don't wait. And personally, my opinion is, you know, the first call that I'm making is to my wife saying, I love you, I'm in an accident, I might need you to come help me out. My next question then my next call becomes to the police, let them come in, I don't know if anyone's injured. And after the dust has settled a little bit, that's when I call an attorney because I realize I'm still in a little pain, and let them make sure my rights are protected.
And then, you know, what should we be looking for when we do have to make that call? We have to find out a little bit about an attorney. What are the things that we should know about before we pick who's going to sort of represent us?
You know, and that's a decision that I think shouldn't be rushed. It should be, you should look into the reputation, ask around, does that attorney have a reputation for quick settlement, or does that attorney have a reputation to, say, use their court and trial room experience, and when they won't get the offer that your client deserves, will they take that experience and go to trial and make the jury do it for them?
So it's definitely something you want to do a little bit beforehand, before you get in that accident. Now, a lot of our viewers sent in questions, so we're going to pull up 3 of them right now. The first question was, I was in an auto accident and my insurance cut off my wage payments. Do I have to wait for my case to be over to get the guy who hit me to pay for my lost wages? So what happens in this situation?
And again, it comes down to how aggressive your attorney is. You should meet with your attorney, talk about all the options are, and one of the options is that you can, instead of waiting for the case to be over with and without jeopardizing your case, is you could make the insurance pay your lost wages. A lot of people think the insurance's job or your insurance is to help them, and as an attorney I would disagree that all they do is not want to pay, therefore it's my job to make them pay.
So you're kind of the catalyst, you're pushing along all of this.
Exactly.
All right, well, why don't we pull up the second question. So the second question is, my primary care doctor does not want to see me when it comes to my accident. Is there any way to make him treat me? So maybe a little bit of background. Do a lot of doctors sort of back off when there is an accident?
Well, I think the issue there is a lot of doctors are used to accepting primary insurance, which would be you know, insurance you have through the work or through a Medicaid program. And unfortunately, when it comes to an auto or a work accident, insurance companies don't want to accept that. So you have to meet with your attorney, say what options are out there, what kind of treatment providers, is it a chiropractor, an orthopedic surgeon, is it a neurosurgeon, who can I meet with that can become my treatment provider, and then that attorney can give you advice on what outcomes you've seen with other clients and what options are out there.
So if they're comfortable with their primary care, you know, the person that is typically their doctor, is there a way to sort of force that doctor into seeing them?
You can never force a doctor to treat somebody, and quite frankly, and sometimes it's not always a good instance because you don't want your primary records getting mixed in with your auto records. The last thing you want is an insurance company looking at OB/GYN records when your back's hurting. So sometimes you just don't want them to mix together anyways, and it might be in your best interest to go meet other people and other practitioners.
All right, well, why don't we pull up the final question. Now, the final question is, I was injured in an accident 3 years ago, and my case is still not settled. When can they expect this to be over? So what is the timeline with these accidents? You know,
and that is a huge variable, the timeline. It depends on the type of injury, how seriously injured the person is, what kind of treatment they've gone through, have they had a surgery, and that's when you need to sit down with your attorney, ask them what phase are we in this, is the case sued yet, if it's sued, do we have a trial date yet, how hard is the attorney pushing. Sometimes these cases go on for years, and sometimes we have lucky enough to get them over in months, but usually they go for a while, and unfortunately for some of the clients out there, it's a long process, and you really need to develop that relationship of trust and confidence in your attorney so you know exactly what's going on, and hopefully your case would be resolved soon.
Now, I can imagine with legal issues there are tons of questions out there, so continue to send your legal questions to Winging It. Leave them on our Facebook, send them to our Twitter. But for more people out there that have a little bit more, you know, questions, how can they reach you?
You know, you can reach us through our website at joshuaramos.com, or you can call us directly at 810-6140. where an attorney will always be there to answer your calls and questions and speak with you.
And of course, you can tune in once a month where your questions will be answered live on our Winging It couch. But right now, we're going to head over to Emily Lenahan with our .com.